Good evening. I'm Maria Teresa Kumar, President and CEO of Voto Latino, and I'm so grateful for the chance to speak to you as you're wrapping up a rich and invigorating summit. I have to say, there are few organizations that really get politics the way that Sister District does. I'll tell you, it's easy to hear people talk about how state government is the pipeline for national leaders. Everyone is looking for the next Barack Obama, Stacey Abrams, someone stepping out from a state legislator to become a fresh, new national leader. But the truth is that people are realizing that elections, local elections, are transforming for good and for ill the lives of tens of millions of people every single day. From gerrymandering, voter suppression, attacks on public health, attacks on reproductive freedoms, it's Republicans at every level of state government who are threatening to undermine our civic institutions. Little d democracy. And that is why I'm so proud that Voto Latino and Sister District activists are working together to ensure that voters have a say in building a government that truly meets their needs. And the needs are many. There's a lot of work to do. 2021 has been a tough year. We have had to recognize and honor the lives that have been lost to COVID, to climate disasters, to police brutality, and families who continue to be separated. After the madness and trauma of the previous administration, a lot of people were hoping that 2021 could just be normal, and 2022 as well. Of course, as we all know, it hasn't been. We're still facing the challenges of COVID, physically and emotionally. And while there's been real important progress when it comes to how the federal government is addressing the challenges confronting us, we need to continue fighting, because when we do, we win. Make no mistake, the 2020 elections were a profound inflection point for this country. Just ask the twice impeached former president. As many of us knew all along, and as the rest of the country is finding out every time we learn more about the events leading up to January 6th, the former president's priority has always been to amass power for himself and for his cronies, no matter the consequences. Following a fair election, he tried to cling to power, even when it was clear that the cost of his actions was the loss of our democracy. But he learned that in this country, despite its flaws and despite our unrealized promise, democracy, little d democracy, still matters. Donald Trump says he doesn't accept the election results, but you know what? He still got a plane to fly back to Mar-a-Lago. That didn't happen because he gave up. It didn't happen because he was unwilling to lie, cheat, or steal to stay in the White House. It certainly wasn't because he respected the law or cared about democracy. It happened because each of you in this room, we did not allow it. The power of our voices as one, saying we wouldn't stand by and watch our rights crumble before our eyes. That forced him out and his allies to relent. It happened because through our votes and through our relentless, innovative organizing, we did the hard work. The 2020 election featured the highest voter turnout since 1900. Joe Biden received more votes than have ever been cast for a presidential candidate. 12 million more than Barack Obama. Trump was the first incumbent president to be denied a second term in 28 years. And let's not forget Georgia, which not only supported a Democratic presidential candidate for the first time since 1992, but sent not one, but two Democratic senators to Congress, including the first Black senator to represent that state. Now again, none of this just happened. It took an unprecedented effort to register, organize, and turn out voters, including a new generation of voters who were able to flex their muscle at the ballot box for the first time. Between 2012 and November of 2020, Voto Latino registered 1.1 million voters, including more than 600,000 people in the 2020 election cycle alone. We registered 35,000 youth in Georgia, 67,000 Arizonans. We committed more than $33 million to our campaign and helped mobilize 3.7 million low propensity voters because we needed everyone to go to the ballot box. Voto Latino's effort didn't happen in a vacuum. Organizations dedicated to reproductive freedom, racial justice, LGBTQ equality, environmental protections, and a fair shot for working people pulled out all the stops to make sure that even Donald Trump's lies couldn't keep his power. Which brings us back to the states. In 2020, we did our job so well that people want to change the rules, and state legislators are churning out new laws intended to stop our communities from accessing the voting box. But the truth remains, our people are our power. Our ability to make change is directly tied to our efforts to organize and empower our communities. Work still needs to be done in Congress. I'm not giving up on voting rights legislation, and neither should you. But make no mistake, this is important because despite the former president's lies, despite state legislators pushing their dangerous right-wing agenda, despite Fox messaging machine on Fox News, we have more power than they do because we stand on the right side of history, empowering Americans every single day to continuing the fight even when it's hard. And we build each other up even when they're trying to do everything to tear us down. Our power is all of us, our collective power, our commitment to equity and to justice, and our vote. And our opportunity to welcome more into our movement is only growing. This will give you some hope and some joy. By November, 6 million youth will have turned 18 years old, 2/3 who are young people of color. In Texas alone, that's 250,000 more Latino youth who are going to be able to cast a ballot and decide Craig Abbott's fate. In 2022 elections with so many state houses on the line, our opponents are hoping that we'll sit this one out, that some people will rest on their laurels because we got the aspiring autocrat out. And others, they'll throw in the towel because change hasn't come fast enough. But we can't allow that to happen. If we're committed to the causes we care about and to fulfilling a more perfect union, we have an obligation to fight and to keep fighting because our democracy is worth it. And that means working our hardest to make sure our communities show up at the ballot box, no matter how hard others try to keep us away. This summit has been an extraordinary gathering and an opportunity to learn, to roll up our sleeves, and to recommit ourselves to the work ahead. What's exciting is that we are defining America for this century, and we're ready. We know what to do. Through the power of organizing, running for office, and voting, we defeated autocracy. We won the House, the White House, the Senate. And now we need to double down and focus on the states in 2022, because the forces of hatred and division are powerful, but they are simply no match for the power we hold when we come together as a rising, multicultural, fierce America, ready to fight and vote for the future we deserve.